Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my humble home in Livingston, Montana. Okay, right before you, when I got there, is one of my oldest, excuse me, one of my most trusted hunting rifles. It is a Browning Able. Browning meaning the name of the manufacturer, and an Able meaning the model. It's a 270 Winchester. That's the caliber. Okay, this is a hunting story that I'm getting ready to tell, so it's not a bloody hunting story. So if you don't like hunting stories, click this video off right now. Okay, I brought this rifle out to kind of help me tell this story. This took place, ladies and gentlemen, this hunting story took place when I lived and worked over in Butte, Montana during the early 1990s, okay? I had a friend of mine by the name of Bill. Last names are not important. But I had this friend of mine named Bill, and I used to call him Wee Willie. Why did I call him Wee Willie? Just to piss him off. Me and him were pretty good bros and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, old Wee Willie comes charging up to me one day during hunting season, and he said, look, Jim, he says, I think I know of a place up above Divide, Montana, where, we can get in some elk and blah, 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 and all this other stuff. Now, this was Bill's idea. We were using Bill's vehicle, which happened to be a Ram Charger that, Dodge made them crazy blazer-like things called Ram Chargers back in the day. And so, as a matter of fact, I had to help old Bill do a little mechanicing work before we went on this particular weekend hunting trip. But this particular weekend comes, me and old Bill throw all our crap in his Ram Charger, and we had planned on staying overnight, Now, this Divide area, let me tell you just a little bit about it. If you look on Google Maps, if you look due west of Butte and south of Butte along the Big Hole River, you're going to find a little community called Divide, Montana. We were just hunting the mountains right in back of Divide. Quite a ways back in there, like probably a good 5, 7, 8 miles or something away from Divide because, they got a lot of private ranches around. A lot of these ranchers around here won't let you hunt their land. But anyway, Bill knew that area. I had never been, I'd been back in that neck of the woods, but not exactly where he knew. Everybody's got their own favorite secret hunting places, So, me and old Bill, we take off. We get kind of a late start because we're having trouble with his Ram Charger, but we get going on a Saturday. I remember that all too well. We get up in that country, and basically all we had time enough to do was, we had time enough to do a little bit of hunting, but we had to set up a camp, and we didn't have any camper or tents or any of that. But that big old Ram Charger, there was enough room with the back seats out of it. We could, two of us could lay back there in our sleeping bags, and that's what we used for lodging. No big deal, kept us perfectly warm. I'm glad that we slept back there and tried to just rawhide it, sleep out in the open, because we had one wet, sloppy snowstorm that night, buried our camp and everything. But the next morning I jump up, I don't care about any of this stuff. I put on my hunting clothes and I take this rifle right here, right up the mountain. And this very rifle right here, I've got to stop for a minute and tell you about the scope on this rifle. This is a 3x9 power scope, okay? It's made by Tasco, and I can just hear people going, oh my God, that's a BB gun scope. Pay attention here. Back in the day, I'd never ever wanted to take this scope off here because this is a real good scope. But back in the late 1980s and early 1990s, Tasco was making what they called a world-class Tasco scope. And I've got one of these, and you can't buy them. They don't make them anymore. The only place that you're going to find this is from somebody that wanted to sell one or a pawn shop. It's got a 44 millimeter objective lens, and there's the lens caps. These lens caps, by the way, are key to this story. Okay, so, as we go along here. So this it was on a Sunday morning, I know. I take off, me and old Bill make a rudimentary plan. He's going to go hunt an area up, just straight up from where we were over to my left, and I was going to hit an area over to would been our ride from the camp, and I knew where there was this old logging road that I followed up, and and like that. And it was pretty doggone cold that next day when we left camp, and after we got our coffee and everything, and because it snowed the night before and whatnot have you. So, I'm trying to protect my rifle best I can, because it's one thing when you go hunting in snowy weather, weather's always trying to drip down in your barrel, screw up your scopes, moisture, ice, you name it. Water's trying to get in your hunting equipment, okay? Okay. I get away from camp, I don't know, it's about a mile or so. I follow this old logging road till I come out to the end of this logging road. It was situated in an area where I could cover a couple of canyons and stuff. And I remember I stopped because it was very cold. I built me a fire. I ate my lunch because I always take a small pack with me when I go hunting to carry my hunting knives, my bone saws, my, that kind of stuff. The drag ropes and all this other stuff, extra ammunition, whatnot have you. So I sit back in that country a good couple hours, doing this ambush hunting, what I call ambush hunting or sniper hunting, because you cannot run down big game animals. If you know of anybody that claims that they're running down big game animals, I got somebody right there that I'm going to tell you is full of SHIT. So anyway, enough time goes by, I don't see any big game animals, nothing shaking. So I extinguish my fire and everything and and I start humping out of this area that I'm at to go back to Bill's Ram Charger, okay? I'm walking along this road, this logging road, and I come through a grove of trees that was really overgrown. I mean, the limbs were just from one side to the other interlocking and all that. Well, what was happening is the big globs of snow from the storm the night before were falling off, and they were plopping on my head and going down my neck. That's what was really bugging me, is going down my neck, plopping onto my rifle. So normally when I hunt, this is the key to this story, ladies and gentlemen, I always have my scope covers up like this. So I got instant access. You see what I mean? Instant field of view. I'm not fighting with these covers, But as I walk through that portion of woods, which is about, 75 yards long or something, going through this sloppy mess, I decided to put these scope covers down just until I got through the woods, and then at some point in time I planned on lifting them back up again. I walk through them drippy, wet woods with my scope covers down like this, and I come out into the opening. And what I mean by opening, it was all hilly country, but there was some ranging land right in front of me. Not a tree, not a bush, nothing in my way. There was a lot of cloud cover. There was a big old cloud that was only about 100 yards from me. You just have to be up in this country, ladies and gentlemen, to understand how this works. But, clouds, they like to intermingle around and just do their thing, But there was a cloud hanging right there. And here I am trucking down this old logging road, and two bull elk walk right out of these clouds, and because I know why now they were on the move. They were using that cloud cover to move for concealment, for camouflage. The elk are real smart that way. The first bull elk that walked out, ladies and gentlemen, was the most prettiest 4x4 you ever seen. Nice, not the biggest rack, but anybody had been proud of that bull elk to be able to harvest and capture that bull elk. And following that bull elk was a lesser elk. It was either a spike or a raghorn, but a much smaller bull with a not a very good set of horns, but you can't eat them horns anyway. And I just couldn't believe it. I thought, my God. And these elk are no more than 125 yards away from me. A very easy shot with a .270 Winchester. This rifle right here is one of the most accurate rifles that you get, the calibers that you can, big game calibers that you can buy. If you never heard it from anybody, you heard it from me. So, man, I'm going, this is a dream come true. Because I would have been like shooting, fish in a fish barrel, so to speak, goldfish in a fish barrel. I just raised this old .270 up just like this, but remember the scope covers were down. And I got, oh no, like that, And those elk, they weren't running, but they were on a trot. They knew what they were doing is going up along the side hill. There was a ridge that was probably about 50 yards, 60 yards away from them, not that far. And they were trying to get up on the top of that ridge. And I'd been over there sniffing around. And what that was, it was really steep on the other side, and there was a bunch of timber, and they had planned on concealing themselves as soon as they got up there, because elk are real good at that, see? But I throw this scope up to get a bead on that 4x4, and these scope covers are down, ladies and gentlemen. Just the time that it took me to lower my rifle, open up this scope cover like this, open up that scope cover like that, and get mounted back up again, the rifle mounted back up, they had already covered that 50 to 60 yards up to the top of that ridge, and the only thing I could zero in on, put my crosshairs on, was the ass end of that lesser elk. I'm an experienced hunter. I was an experienced hunter back in those days, and I refused to shoot a big game animal in the rear end. Any of them, deer or anything. It's not a lethal shot. One shot, one kill. That's the way I try to travel by it. Most of the years it's worked out pretty good for me. You gotta know where to hit your big game animals, but shooting them in the rear is not the deal. So, because of this circumstance, with my scope covers and all that, I lost a perfectly good 4x4 bull elk. So for you young elk hunters that are out there, I'm telling you that when it comes to elk hunting, details, small things like that can cost you a bull elk. You got to be very wary. And when you're elk hunting, if you're in elk hunting country, one thing that you need to know, and I have always known this all my life, expect the unexpected. Sometimes those elk will appear just out of nowhere, just out of a bank of clouds like these two did, and I wasn't completely ready. And it cost me that 4x4. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for listening to this story. Take care of yourselves, and like always, we shall see you on Down the Trail.